record this session.
All right.
Oh, yes, indeed. Well, welcome back to the Yellow Brick Road. We're on our way to the Emerald.
Are we all the Munchkins? Or the, what were they?
Well, we're not the flying monkeys.
No, what were the little
Toto?
The
little people?
Another one.
The Munchkins.
The Munchkins.
They were the Munchkins. Okay, I felt wrong when I started to say Munchkins.
Well, I want to welcome you back for today's session. I'm Ann Marshall, and I'm happy to be on the Yellow Brick Road with my fellow creatists, and Michelle is in the house tonight. Yahoo! And I just wanted to check in, and did some people have trouble opening up the Facebook page video from Facebook? Because I forgot to record, but it was on Facebook. But some people were saying they had trouble.
I did. Can everybody see my sign up on above my door?
There's no place like home. Okay, that's perfect.
My daughter made me that.
Was anybody able to watch the video replay on my personal Facebook page?
No, I did not.
That's so strange because.
Well, the question is, did anybody try and not be able to? Because I didn't try.
I didn't try.
I didn't try.
Yeah.
I tried, but I don't think this is Karen Kimmel. I don't think I'm friends on your personal Facebook page. So I don't think it recognized me.
Oh, really? Okay, well, I'll make a note of that, Karen. Because I can see it listed on there, and I thought it was a great session. So I didn't want anybody who didn't want to miss it. So that's why I was just checking in.
Thank you.
I'll see what I can do about that. And Michelle, maybe if you get a chance, if you can just check that out.
Sure, yeah.
Over the next day or so and just see if that works for you. But tonight I wanted to talk about the process, and sometimes it's referred to as a U-shaped curve, where you start off enthusiastically, you've got an idea, you've got the right tools, you've got the right frame of mind, you've got time, the stars are lining up, it all looks really good. You kind of get into it and you get a little rhythm going, and then you kind of maybe hit a brick wall, or things start to get a little muddy and it's not going how you had planned in your mind. So it's showing up differently, and it's hard to kind of make that correction and where to go to with the actuality not being the same as the vision in your head. Like I think of this what I call an underwater sea tapestry that I have spent hours and hours and hours and hours and hours and hours on. And at one point, it was really good, and I really liked it. And then it was just too big, so I cut it up and I reworked it and put more hours and hours and hours into it. And now it's like something's off. Something's wrong. I'm not really happy with it. I don't know where to go. I'm very frustrated, and it's kind of like put off to the side again. This would be like the third time it's kind of kicked the bucket. So it's just one of those things that doesn't have any life or luster, and it's because I feel like I'm not bringing the life or the luster to it. So that's kind of one scenario. Another scenario is what I call the dead end before you get started. So again, you've got an idea in your head, and it's really exciting, and it's something that's important to you, but you don't know where to begin, or you're reluctant to get started. So for me, I have had this long-standing vision of my head of a bridge that I want to do, a local bridge here in St. Augustine. It's going to require that I draw. And that is like kind of facing me so much so that I kind of stop in my tracks. And in fact, I had an assignment where I wanted to draw, and I drew a little bit in my backyard. It didn't come out very well. Then I went online looking at pictures of something else that I needed to draw, and kind of did a little sketch. But I can see I'm avoiding what I really want to draw. So again, I'm dead-ended before I start. Well, this wonderful book, The War of Art, talks about resistance and the nature of resistance. And it is very prevalent in our lives in many different ways and very insidious. So it can't be seen, it can't be touched, it can't be heard, it can't be smelled, but it can be felt. And we experience it as an energy field kind of radiating from that work-in potential, and it's a repelling force. It's a negative, and its aim is to shove us away, distract us, or prevent us from doing our work. It's self-generated and self-perpetuated. Nobody's doing it to us. It's the enemy within. And because it's insidious, it will tell you anything to keep you from doing your work. It will perjure, fabricate, falsify, seduce, bully, and cajole. It just grabs in with its teeth and doesn't let go. So I see that as resistance as having many names. Some of those names would be like the committee inside our head, or the worry tank, or the inner critic, procrastination, self-doubt, or the need to be perfect, or boredom, or monotony. In the end, it really comes down to some kind of form of fear. The fear of being judged, the fear of rejection, the fear of the unknown, the fear of the discomfort or the struggle or the angst that one might go through. And I loved Stephen Pressfield's quote that the rule of thumb is the more important the call or action is to our soul's evolution, the more resistance we will feel towards pursuing it. And that's really kind of what I hit dead on with this bridge idea, because I see this bridge in my mind, and it's like the focal point of a goal that I have, and it is really important to me. And I think because it's part of my soul essence is why I've been kind of circumventing and trying to go around and not really hitting it dead on. So I can see doing this work and really giving some thought to meeting resistance. That's definitely my next call to action. Is tomorrow's time slot will be working on some rendition of a bridge. So I thought this conversation might be stirring up some thoughts on your part, and I'd love to hear what you have to say and how you might have experienced this in any way. What do you think?
Well, I personally was amused, profoundly amused by everything that you just said. And the list, what a luscious list. And I can only imagine like what of that whole list might have rang a note, for everybody in this group. Like it might be 12 different things that rang a note in 12 different people, And what comes up for me is, it's interesting, your creativity challenge. To do this with you, I immediately thought about, the things that I wanted to do, like kind of create art and beauty. And that felt like a place that I haven't spent enough time in, you know, that I want to look around my dwelling and spend time considering art and beauty, even if it's just redistributing things in my house. But when it really comes, like what came up for me when I was listening to that list is what comes up for me when I want to do performance art.
Hmm. Say more about
And
that.
that's when it gets real for me. Like that's when even now I could tell you my stomach is roiling. Because that's where it gets risky, you know, because that's what I feel like when, you know, there's some real art that really wants to come through and something that wants to be expressed, that wants to be delivered, that's when it feels risky. And for me, it would be performance art. Like when I started to play around with the open mic night on my speakeasy and what I wanted to start to bring to it. Because, see, I like this idea of causing creation. And causing creation is like what this creativity challenge could do. It could cause creation. My open mic night was a causing creation. It's like I personally knew, and anybody else who wanted to know, once a month on this cycle, every whatever Thursday, third Thursday of the month, you can come bring a performance that can be delivered on the stage at the microphone on an open mic. You know, and I started to want to play around with serious performance pieces, like stitching different songs together that would be a story and that I could actually kind of slightly perform, but like risky. So risky that I stopped wanting to do open mic nights.
Oh, interesting.
I did 2 of them. And then I'm like, oh, I have to rethink it. It all has to be reorganized. And I don't think it's quite right. I don't know what I'm doing. And I haven't done another one since. Of course, 2020 shut all of that business down. But so I really related to a lot of the pieces of that list, you know, just serious resistance.
Mm. Been there and felt sick to your stomach.
You've had that experience. Is that what you're saying?
Well, I'm talking about you, and
Yes.
and I've had it in different forms for sure.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. So that's what resonated for me. I wonder what resonated for you guys.
I was thinking, this is Karen, I was thinking about anger at myself, directed at myself. I've been putting off a major project. I went to a Empty Spools in California and took a class, but a whole week course from Jane Sassman. And when I got home, I did one part of the instructions all wrong. And of course I had pre-cut everything. And I've been so angry with myself for doing that and telling myself that I can't fix it, that I haven't done anything with it. I'm just still angry with it. It's not with it, it's with myself. So,
and what does the angry voice have to say about you? If you were to reveal.
You should have known better. You knew this wasn't right when you did it, and I did. It turned, her technique is you add the layers, but you cut back on the back side, you cut it back. And I just charged ahead, and that's very much my stick, is that I just can't be bothered with all the details. I know how to do this, I'm just gonna do it. And so once again, that really, you know, got me into trouble, and I was using really nice fabrics, those hand-dyed ones that are 20 bucks a yard. And you know, it's stiff as all get out. There's no way that when and if it ever is finished, I could even quilt it. So but I continue. That's been like 2 years. I continue to beat myself up on
what
this.
You're saying, Karen, is that you are frustrated with this shtick of yours.
Oh, yes.
You're frustrated with every time you return to this old habit of just like ramming it in there. I know everything. and I
get in
won't slow
trouble.
down to hear instructions. You're just like, here it is
Yes.
again, right? That,
Extremely impulsive
yeah,
and charge ahead, and I know how to do this.
yeah. Well,
Karen,
that is
Karen, are you, this is Emma. Are you and I sisters from another mother?
Perhaps.
So
What?
Emma, you relate to that?
Yeah, and I had the voice in my head that tells me that, and I know where that voice comes from. And I did a period of time where I studied the dichotomy of parent, adult, child voices in your head, and I respond to it with my adult voice and tell it to shut up.
Ah,
Because
I
it's the
love
parent,
that.
it's the
Yeah.
parent voice that's telling me, you dummy, you always just rush into it, you know, and you screw it up and so forth. And then the parent says, it's all right. It's all right. You can do it over or just not do it. It doesn't matter. Don't listen to that parent.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm sorry, you said it's the child's voice that said I screwed it up? And the parent's
No,
voice
it's the
that,
parent's voice that said, you screwed it up, you dumb kid.
and then what's the other voice?
The adult voice.
The adult voice. Got
Or me rewriting the parent voice. I can rewrite that parent voice inside of me so that it says good things to me instead of telling me that I'm a dumb kid and I'm never going to amount to anything.
That's so good. That is beautiful, Emma.
Mm-hmm. That is.
Yeah.
You have,
Right, Karen?
if you had that kind of parental pressure, you have to rewrite your parent voice
Yeah.
and make it the kind of parent you wanted.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So bright. Yeah. That's good stuff for you, Karen.
Mm-hmm.
You
It
know,
is. I'm thinking.
temper the meanness of it, the part
Yeah,
that
the meanness.
cuts the heart out of your creative soul, you know?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's right.
Another thing that I did, and I think it was through Jane Dunwald, was draw a picture of my critic voice.
Oh.
And I made it this ghastly, ugly, silly, makeup, weird woman. Just made her so ridiculous that you have to laugh to look at her. So I try to picture that now when that voice comes instead of where the voice really came from. And then I can
Love
laugh
that.
at it.
That's very good. Thank you, Emma.
Uh-huh.
Cool.
I'm not saying it works all the time, but
Thank you guys, both of you, for sharing. That's good stuff. What's coming up for the rest of you?
I'm coming up on the opposite side of that. I come up with inaction. I am so paralyzed to start
Oh,
that I want to know everything about it before I begin.
yeah.
So it's like, what fabric am I going to use? How am I going to make it? I don't have a pattern. What am I going to, how do I want to proceed? What kind of a pattern do I want to make for it? And I've been able to get started for 2 weeks now on a project. And just after we did the voice last week, I just said, go for it. So I just started making some blocks. I don't like them and they're not going to end up in it, but it got me moving.
Nice.
So
Yeah.
I'm working. I got 8 blocks done today.
Beautiful.
Mm.
Check that out. You know, one person who can't keep herself from running in and the other person that can't get herself to move, right? We're just
Yeah, but once I figure out what I want to do, it's like, don't even disturb me. I don't want to talk to anybody. I don't want to do anything but this. I'm on a roll,
got it.
you know.
Awesome. Beautiful, Laura. Thank you. Who's next? What's coming up for you?
Well, I'm kind of like with Laura, except I pull all the fabric, I make the pattern, I do the drawing. And like if it's coming up to a show, I will not get it done on time so I can't put it in. Because I think it's just that I don't want someone to judge what I do. Some of these are juried shows. I'm not sure that I feel that I'm at that step. even though I've done all the homework, I just can't get to the heart so that somebody can look at it. So that's so what you said was call to action, because really that's what it is. It's call to action with me, and just do the herd, go, jump.
Yeah.
Mhm.
It's that judgment, being seen and judged and somebody thinking it's lame. Oh,
Elizabeth Gilbert says, start a rejection file. Rejection's going to happen. And in the end, the validation or the, what we're looking for is only available through us. And that's really the only thing that matters. Anybody else's opinion or regard to whatever we're creating is insignificant and really irrelevant to spend time on. But kind of letting that go, and remember, we've talked about doing something because we love doing it, because we're called to do it, and therefore the consequence or the end result is superfluous. It doesn't really matter because it was our sole essence to complete that.
yeah.
So go for those rejections, because it just means there's a yes ahead of there. It's a law of numbers. How many times did Edison try on the light bulb? And
I might be surprised.
yeah.
I mean, they may want it. I might be surprised. I mean, I'm not even getting myself a chance yet.
Right. Yeah. And, I also know for myself that when I have been brave enough to, face the fear, what really ends up being the feeling of achievement is having faced the fear, not even what anybody else says in the end. You're like, if you like it, great. But I have faced my fear. I'm standing here. I didn't melt. I didn't dissolve. I didn't, lose my bowels. It's like nothing bad happened. And I feel so good for having overcome it, overcome the obstacle, that it ends up mattering a little less what people have to say about on the other side.
Yeah, you won't die from it.
It's true.
And when you don't, it's like, yeah, I want more of this. I didn't die. Because it's a good rush. What else? We've got time to hear from everybody, I think.
I'm
think-
procrastination.
I think
Julie? I think Julie
some of the-
started.
the biggest things, it's like going through all this, I feel like I've been somewhat limited in doing some of the things that I thought I might do. Ironically, I think just in general of the times, there's a fear of just like, in general, just like with this COVID thing. And it's kind of maybe put that umbrella over me. And ironically, yesterday, while I was watching a service on live Facebook, the whole message was, do not be afraid. And I think, what we're talking about in trying to create, it all meshes together, and it's kind of like, do not be afraid. Get the jump start. And, I guess one of the things that we always said to our daughter was, learn from your friends' mistakes. And, it's just one of those things where it's like, it's a puzzle, and not every piece is going to fit. And sometimes you have to like clip aside or something. And maybe in what we're creating here, just if it doesn't mesh, don't worry about it. Maybe it'll fit later on somewhere else. So like, hold on to the mistakes, and then maybe put them all together, and it'll all work and blend together. So don't be afraid.
Don't be afraid. That just went right through my heart. That was strong. Thank you, Dorothy.
And to me, it was very spiritual, but yet I've always felt blessed that my creativity and my talents were given to me for a reason. And, you know, just because I put up a pen. Some of you are going to like it and some are going, what the heck is she doing with that? You know, and it's just, you know, you're not, you know, you have to please yourself. You're not, you know, it's nice if you're selling something that, you know, you're going to always have you might have a buyer, but in the meantime, you've got to please yourself first and don't be afraid. You know, someone out there, it's like, I think to myself now, just moving from Ohio here, things that I did, and my friends like, oh, what did you do with that? And I said, I threw it away. And they're like, oh no. And it's like, you know, maybe I should have brought, but you know, you're limited, you know, to space and everything else. But you know, just big thing is don't be afraid. Just jump.
And Julie, what were you going to say?
Oh, let me turn my phone off. Procrastination is probably it. I'm sure fear gets in there. Procrastination for me comes with, there's other things you should be doing. Probably you should be doing this, you should be doing that.
Air quotes.
Yeah. So that's what comes in for me most of all.
That you don't really you don't let it be a priority when it maybe is ready to be a priority. Yeah.
Right. I have at least a dozen projects sitting around that are there waiting, and you know, I haven't done them.
Yeah.
And I have been inspired. Actually, through COVID, I've done more projects than I've probably done in 2 years, but not big projects. Not a quilt will probably never happen for me, but you know, it's little projects, things I enjoy doing, and just creating something and sharing it with whoever wants to see it, and just fun and make my house feel, I mean, I love my house and I love doing stuff with my house, and I make stuff for my friends, and some of it's funny and fun, and some of it's a little more serious, but not much. So,
Nice.
but procrastination is my biggest thing too.
Good call. Good call out.
That's a great awareness. We've got time for one more. Lori.
Yeah, I spent a little time actually looking at my own resistance, you know, this past week. And one of the things that I looked at was, so what are these unprojects about? And one is I still want to do my big egret. And part of that is a fear, but some of it was really getting into it and realizing that there was a lot of the skill set that I don't have. And I really needed to pull in what I'm really good at, which is studying and researching. I mean, that's something, you know, it's like bring that strength to this so that you stop being so afraid of it. Because sometimes I jump into things and it really is like, what in the world were you thinking? You know, you're not close to that. So, but I can also get into a hole with that. I can also overthink it. But then I looked around at my projects and it looks as though my projects are kind of organized. They're in bags and boxes. But there are things that when I start feeling fearful that I can pull out and feel real comfortable with, and it kind of gets me over a hump. Some things are things that clearly were just a class that I took and they've just not been finished. But it was interesting looking how all of them had their own energy and their own way of dealing with creativity, you know, so I can just pull out a box and just, you know, go for it. Or, you know, here's one that just isn't working. It's because of colors, because colors sometimes is my downfall, you know. So it was interesting going through that mental process, looking at, you know, and they're organized. They're in bags and boxes, you know, they're there.
Wow.
Yes.
Impressive.
So, Michelle, the fire starter, what do you want to leave us on in terms of meeting resistance?
Well, you know, I think all the wisdom was right here, actually. We really just taught each other a lot just by sharing our pieces, you know, of our process. And, you know, it felt really alive and inspiring. And you know, just if I would say if we were going to cap it off, I would do it one more time. There's really only 12 of us here. You could say one word that you want to leave yourself with after having faced what you faced. So it's like the parent, if we were using Emma's analogy, which is, you know, kind of cutting the knees out from underneath us. And then there's that wise part of us that has one thing to say that could be the end note. What would it be for you, Anne?
Courage.
Courage. And for you, Christina?
Trust.
Awesome. Laurie?
That's where I was going, was trust.
Trust.
Exactly, yes. Mm-hmm.
And Dorothy?
Fearless.
Ah, Julie?
Go.
Laura? Laura Austin, one word that the wiser part of you has.
Do it.
Do it. And let's see, who have I
I was thinking, this is Karen,
yes.
gentleness.
Ooh.
Gentleness. And Deborah?
Persistence.
Persistence.
Oh. Oh.
And Pam?
Perseverance.
Perseverance. And Emma?
Well, I was gonna say do it. Laura took that one, so.
All the wisdom is right here in the room.
Yep. Yep.
Did
Well
everybody
done.
did everybody give a word?
I didn't. I'll give
Miss
challenge.
Deirdre?
Oh, Deirdre, I'm sorry.
That's right, challenge.
Ooh, you're in the right place. So let me leave you with, may the creative flow take you where you want to grow.
Thank you.
Bravo!
Thank you.
All right.
Good half an hour, guys. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Great.
Thank you.